Hey, what's up? It's Sid, and I'm here in the Redwood Forest of California, and what I wanted to talk about in this video is how to snap yourself back into momentum once you've lost momentum as an entrepreneur. Let's say you've been working very, very hard, and you've been working hard with consistency and discipline and a routine, and then all of a sudden you get distracted, or you completely fall out of structure, and all of a sudden mentally it's hard to engage with the work the same way you used to. Mentally it's hard to work with the same intensity level as before, and you've fallen out of momentum. Now here's the thing, once you've fallen out of momentum, you might never come back to the same level of hard work as you did before. It takes a lot of force and energy to maintain your momentum at a high level, and once you fall out, you may never come back the same. So what I'm here to tell you in this video is, if you have fallen out of momentum, there's still a little sliver of hope for you. And the hope is some of the strategies I'm gonna give you in this video. So without further ado, welcome to the video on snapping back into momentum. So number one, if you are somebody watching this video who has lost your momentum, you have probably lost your momentum because of self-sabotaging activities. So get out a pen, get out a piece of paper, and write down all the ways you have distracted yourself, all the ways you have self-sabotaged. Now, Netflix, hanging around the wrong people, bad habits, drugs, alcohol, whatever it is for you, and whatever ways you have self-sabotage, write it all down, okay? This is the first way people lose momentum, is they self-sabotage. Maybe you had a lot of momentum going into a business. You worked really, really hard on the startup phase, but once you got cash flowing, once you got a little bit of shekels in your hand, you self-sabotaged a lot. You distracted yourself, and that derailed you. That derailed your momentum, okay? So that's number one, self-sabotage. Number two is there could be external factors affecting you. Are there external factors affecting you? Maybe someone's who is dragging you into the mud, dragging you into a lawsuit or something of that nature. If you're being dragged into a lawsuit in business, it's hard to maintain your momentum. Maybe it's something else entirely. Maybe you injured yourself. You got a concussion. It's going to be hard to maintain your momentum in business when your head has trauma. Maybe you tore your ACL, maybe you hurt a different part of your body. All right, if you got an injury or someone's dragging you into something where it's gonna waste your time, those things can derail momentum. So external factors, so self-sabotage, external factors. The next way we can lose momentum is we slowly but surely, like a frog in boiling water, we get baby stepped away from momentum. So maybe you had a lot, for example, let's take a non-business example. Maybe you had a lot of momentum in the gym. A lot of momentum in the gym, meaning you worked out every day, you stretched every day, you did ice baths, and you took care of your diet. Let's say you're eating a very, very clean diet. And then, one day you swipe a couple of fries off of your buddy's plate. Oh, it's no big deal, it's a couple of fries. Then the next week you swipe 3 fries off your buddy's plate. Then the next week, you order a small fries from McDonald's, and the next thing you know, fries has become a part of your diet. So you can get slowly baby stepped away out of momentum. That's one of the most insidious ways to lose momentum, because it's happening from right under your nose. You're not even noticing your momentum slipping away from you because it's happening so subtly. All right, now what I always say is that momentum creates altitude. What I mean by that is it creates altitude on your life. When you have a high degree of momentum, you can look at how things are connected and how it's going to affect your life in the long run. Meaning that if you know that if you eat that one piece of fries, because you're in a psychotic level of momentum, you eat that one piece of fries, you know your brain's going to rationalize it the next week and the next week and the next week, and you're going to keep engaging in bad behavior, eating more and more unhealthy food. So you have the altitude to look at that. Oh, and then draw a boundary. Okay, no, I'm not going to eat those fries, right? So momentum creates altitude. It allows you to see the bigger picture on what's going to happen if you engage with a behavior that would eventually drag you out of momentum. So that's another way. So self-sabotage, external factors, and getting baby stepped away from momentum. Now let's talk about some strategies on getting back into momentum, some different frameworks on viewing this. So what I'm here to tell you is that there's not really an easy answer here. There's no easy answer. So it kind of just depends on your situation. What I'm here to tell you is that there's a couple things I'd keep in mind. One is, keep in mind how you lost momentum in the first place. If you lost momentum due to self-sabotaging behavior, or you slowly got baby stepped away from momentum, I'll give you a couple strategies on how to get back into momentum. So the first one is this. If you've completely fallen off the wagon, the first way you could do things is you can get yourself back into a routine where you kind of just baby step yourself back into momentum. So this is like the easy approach, so to speak. This is the easy approach. What you're gonna do is, let's say you went on vacation for a month in Italy and Greece, you went to Europe, you get back to your business in Los Angeles, and you're normally used to working 12 hours a day, but you completely took a month off. You know, you're eating those Greek desserts, the baklava with the feta cheese and the honey, and your mind is a little bit foggier when you come back, and you really just don't feel the need to really exert yourself back on your business back home. Well, what I'm here to tell you is if you're normally in momentum with working 12 hours a day and you took a month off, it's going to be very difficult to get back on that track with 12 hours a day of grind again. What you can do to baby step it is, rather than just, when you're going to have a tendency to just want to stay in that vacation mode and decay, stay in that stagnation, what I'm here to tell you is that you should baby step it. Go 2 hours a day for a week, 2 hours of work a day for a week, then go 4 hours of work a day for a week, then go 8 hours of work a day for a week, then go 12 hours of work a day. All right, so you can baby step yourself back in. Now I'll give you another approach to getting back into momentum. This is a little bit more of the gangster approach, and this is a much harder approach, but it can be very effective. And the second approach is what we're going to call going cold turkey. So no different than a drug addict who's got a heroin needle in the arm. They go cold turkey. They unplug the heroin needle and they just sit in a rehab center and they allow themselves to be bored. You're going to do a version of that on yourself. Let's say we'll take that same example. You were traveling and on vacation for a month. You went to Italy, you went to all these places, you've fallen out of momentum with your business. The second way, the cold turkey method says, rather than baby stepping yourself back into momentum, on day one, when you get back to your place, you go straight back into 12 hours a day. You shock your system. Now, what you're gonna notice is that it's gonna be almost impossible to concentrate for 12 hours a day after you lost momentum. But in this case, you're gonna force yourself to. Now realize this, because you're so out of momentum, your brain isn't used to the pressure of working that hard. You will find yourself getting really, really bored. You're gonna find yourself wanting to distract yourself, and your brain is gonna come up with a ton of rationalizations. You know, the demons are gonna come to the forefront of your mind because you've lost momentum and you're going straight back into the cold end of the pool, so to speak. Now on top of this, what I want you to do, in addition to the cold turkey method, where you're just gonna go straight back into work, is find a way to hold yourself accountable to where you have no choice but to work for the amount of hours that you set for yourself. So you're gonna get yourself back on track this way. Now what you're gonna notice is for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, it's gonna be very, very difficult. It's gonna be difficult. You're gonna feel like a drug addict. But what you're gonna find is that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It gets better. It gets better. So you go cold turkey, you go straight back into momentum with your work, trying to work at the same level you did before, trying to replicate that. What you're gonna notice is it's gonna really suck in the beginning, but slowly but surely, you will adapt to the same level of stress as before. You'll adapt to the same level of pressure as before, all right? But now you're not, in this case, the cold turkey method, you're not allowing yourself to baby step it, you're going straight into the cold end of the pool. Now here's the thing, this is a difficult way to do things. And what you're gonna notice is your brain will come up with a ton of rationalizations. It will really wanna distract itself, but view it as if you losing momentum is you getting hooked on a bunch of hard drugs. If you get hooked on a bunch of hard drugs, a lot of the time they go to rehab centers and they just sit in a room bored. You know, they just allow themselves to kind of detox it out of their system, so to speak. So you're gonna kind of do that. You're gonna go straight into work. You're gonna feel like a drug addict who's, you know, losing his high, but eventually you'll get back into the high, the natural high that comes with working. So that's another way to get back on track, okay? So the baby stepping yourself back into momentum approach and the cold turkey approach, that is very, very good if you're someone who lost your momentum because you self-sabotaged or you slowly got baby stepped away from your momentum. Now, what I'm here to tell you is that if you're someone who had external factors that caused you to slip off the rails with momentum, Let's say you had an injury, as I said before, or maybe there's some person in your life that is derailing you from your work and that is causing you to lose momentum. Then here's the next method. The next method is to just simply control what you can control. Control what you can control. Now, what happens is you have different types of momentum, right? A lot of momentum is just psychological. But if you're an athlete, momentum is also physical. So, back in the day, I remember I used to run track in college, and I tore a ligament in my right foot. Now, track and field is one of those sports where you need to have a sickening level of momentum to do it at a high level, because your lungs are adapting, your legs are adapting to taking in lactic acid, your mentality is adapting, everything's just adapting. And if you miss a couple days of track, you return back track practice and you feel the detriment on your body. So it's not one of those sports where you get to take time off. It's not a sport where you get to take time off. So it requires a high level of momentum. And I remember tearing a ligament in my right foot. Now what I did was I would still show up to sports practice anyway. I'd show up to practice anyway. Now, here's the thing. I had a torn ligament, so I'm not running with everybody on the track. But psychologically, I maintain my momentum. Physically, I'm falling behind, right? Because I'm injured. But psychologically, I'm maintaining my momentum. So I'd show up to the track, I'd watch all my teammates run, and that would keep me in a competitive headspace. And I would go home when the track practice ended. I wouldn't just show up for 5 minutes. I'd stay the whole duration of practice as if I was still at practice. So here's the thing. That's an example for sports, but you're gonna have your own version of that. Let's say you lost momentum for whatever reason. As I said, there's a lawsuit, there's whatever, it could be anything. Control what you can control. If you only have the opportunity to work 2 hours a day to control the outcome of a situation, work for those 2 hours a day. Don't just let it slip up. And we have this thing in our head where it's like, if you lost a little, let's say, a lot of people would have gotten that injury, torn their ligament, and they wouldn't show up to sports practice. They wouldn't give themselves that psychological win. They would just sit at home or whatever, watch TV. But it's better for me to go to practice. It's better for me to control what I can control and give myself a psychological win than to just lose all this momentum altogether. Okay? So control what you can control is the next thing I tell you. So now I want to conclude with this. I just want to tell you that you should just never ever lose your momentum in the first place. Your momentum is way, way, way too valuable. It's way too valuable. And it takes a sickening amount of work to generate a high level of momentum. And it only takes a little bit to derail that momentum, right? It's like people use that example with, what do they use it with? Reputation, right? It takes a lot to build up a good reputation, and it takes only one instance to ruin your reputation. It's no different with momentum. It takes a lot to get a high level of momentum. It only takes a little bit of distraction to derail you. A little bit of a lack of discipline to derail you. A little bit of a lack of consistency, a lack of hard work to derail you. It only takes a little bit of hanging out with the wrong person to derail you. So what I'm here to tell you is don't get derailed in the first place. Don't allow yourself to get derailed. It's hard enough to build that momentum. If you lose that momentum, you're screwed. And the chances are, even with this video, even with the tactics I gave you, baby step yourself back into momentum. Take the cold turkey approach back into momentum. Control what you can control. Have that give you a psychological win, a psychological momentum. But what I'm here to tell you is that even with that, once you lose your momentum, it's unlikely that you're gonna get it back. It's so unlikely that you're gonna get it back. Think about all the high level people, businessmen, athletes, other people that get into momentum and they never are the same once they lose it. They're never able to get back into that sickening level of momentum once they lose it. Look at Jeremy Lin. There's other people too. Once you're in momentum, keep stoking the fire. Keep stoking the fire. If you're out in the woods, if you're out in the redwood forest, and you're rubbing two sticks together and you come up with a fire, it's hard. You might have to, people think it's like the movies. You just rub two sticks together. Like, have you ever done like real survival training? It's not just you rubbing two sticks together and you just form a fire. It might take 6, 7, 8 hours for you to stoke a little bit of a spark. And then you got to throw a bunch of dry pines on there, dried leaves on there, put little small sticks on there, and then you put some dried logs on there, and that's what allows the fire to get big. Once the fire is big, you can keep throwing logs on there. But once you lose that fire, once the fire has been extinguished, you're back to square one, baby. You're rubbing two sticks together for 8 hours to get a spark that might not come. What if it rains? The spark might not come. So that's what I'm here to tell you, is that you lose your momentum, you might never get it back. And not only might you might never get it back, but you might completely kill your dreams. You might never turn out to be the same person ever again. So I'm not here to scare you. Control what you can control, obviously. If you lost momentum, don't use this as a further excuse to lose even more momentum. Get back on track today. This hour, this minute, this second. Get back on track this millisecond. You don't have any more time to waste, all right? So what I'm here to tell you is don't fall off the rails in the first place. That's the whole key to momentum is just don't lose momentum. Don't even allow yourself to lose momentum. So we'll do a little exercise. Take a piece of paper and a pen, write down all your main distractions, all the key areas, there's a lot of mosquitoes here, all the key areas in life that may cause you to lose momentum. What do you have a susceptibility for? What are you most likely to get baby stepped into? What distraction is that? What is your personal kryptonite? Okay, figure out what that is, because that's most likely to be the thing that's gonna get you to get derailed. So don't allow yourself to get derailed. It's important not to lose momentum. And once you have momentum, protect it like your life depends on it. Okay, but if you do happen to lose your momentum, for whatever reason, the self-sabotage, baby stepped, or you got baby stepped out of it, you self-sabotage or external reasons, use the strategies I gave you, okay? So that being said, that's what I'm gonna leave you guys off with. You guys know what to do. If you're cold turkey, you know, control what you can control, baby step yourself back into momentum, but don't ever lose your momentum in the first place. So that's what I'll leave you guys off with, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.